Hello everyone and welcome to another tutorial in which we are going to look at how to solve this web authoring question which came in the February-March Cambridge exam 2024. And I would like to acknowledge two of my subscribers who made this question paper and source files available to me. You can see their handles on the screen. Once again, thank you very much, and let's dive into the question. Task 4. Create a new folder called Lifan in your examination folder and copy these files into the Lifan folder. You're then required to open lifan.html in your browser. You are required to complete the external JavaScript file named cupcake.js to enable the web page to function as described here. So by clicking on the type of cupcake, must display the correct image. The number of cupcakes entered must be error checked to display an alert if a number other than 6, 12, 18 or 24 is entered. So as required, I've created the Lifan folder and dropped in all the required files. Now let's open and examine lifan.html and have a look at how it's supposed to function. Now we have the wireframe image here and we have 3 buttons here indicating vanilla, chocolate and orange. So on clicking each button, its respective image is supposed to appear. When we input any of these numbers, 6, 12, 18 or 24, its corresponding amount in ingredients must show in these boxes. There must also be an error message when a different number apart from these is entered. Now we have to open lifan.html in your text editor to determine the placeholder for the images and the names of the required functions. The initial image is named wireframe.png. This must be replaced with the image that matches the cake type when a button is clicked, and that are already described when we opened lifan.html in the browser. Next, the names of the functions required to display the correct images are shown in the HTML code. Open the file cupcake.js in your text editor and enter the code to display the correct images. So I'll be using Visual Studio to answer this question. First, we need to open the HTML file and the JavaScript file provided. So we have Lifan HTML. I'll hold down Control and select the cupcake as well and click on Open. Now let's click on the lifan.html tab. In situations like this, it is always important to have a very good understanding of the content in the HTML page. Now when we scroll up, it begins with the style tag. So this is what beautifies the page. When we scroll down further, we have our header. And then we have our initialized image, which is the wireframe.png. And when we come down further, we come to where our buttons are. We realize that by clicking on each button, which is the on click here, we are supposed to run a specific function. We have show vanilla, show chocolate, and show orange. And if we have a quick look at our folder, we have vanilla, orange, and chocolate. So to solve the first part of the task we've been given, we need to get each function and change the attribute of the tag that is holding the initial image. The tag holding the initial image is the image tag, and it is identified or ID'd by cupcake. Now when we come down a bit further, we have this input tag which requires us to enter the number of cakes we would like to bake. It also has a submit button which submits the entry you made. And when we scroll down further, we have a table for our ingredients and method, and we have a TD tag for each of the ingredients which will display the amount of the ingredients depending on the entry you made. And each tag has an ID, as in sugar, flour, eggs, and extract. Now let's head into our JavaScript file and create our first function for the button vanilla. So let's type here function, head back to the HTML file, copy the onclick here, that is show vanilla, and paste. Open and close our curly brackets, and we can type in our document.get, and in our bracket we indicate the ID holding the wireframe image, which is cupcake. Bring our source src equal sign, and then the image we want to display. And then we terminate it with a semicolon and save. Let's head back and refresh and try out our page. Well, there's no response for now, so let's go back to our code and head back to HTML, and let's scroll down to the bottom just before the body closes. We need to add a script tag here, so I'm going to type in script, enter, with a source, and that's going to be cupcake.js. Then I save. Let's head back to our web page. Click, and it's still not working, but don't panic. Let's head back to our JavaScript file and let's check here. So this function, so let's just close it for now. We are going to add more content, but just close it for now and save that as well. Head back to the browser, refresh, click on the button, and then we have our vanilla image. Now I'm going to head back to our editor and replicate what we've just done for the other two images as well. So I'm just going to copy the first function and paste it twice, and in place of the show vanilla here, we are going to enter the respective functions. So let's head back to the HTML. So after show vanilla, we have show chocolate. So as I said, to be on a safe side, just copy and paste at all times. And for the image, we should have chocolate.png. So I'm just going to go into the file explorer itself, click on the name chocolate that has been provided here, head back into the editor and paste. And for show orange, copy the function, replace the function we have here, That's show orange. Go to the Explorer, click on the name once, click on it again, copy the name, and come back here and replace what you have here. Save. And let's save our HTML as well. Head back to the browser, refresh. Let's test our buttons. So we have vanilla, chocolate, and orange. Now we have to complete the code for the function check. It must display the correct quantities if 6, 12, 18, or 24 cupcakes are entered. And it must also display an alert if a wrong quantity is entered. We have to save the JavaScript file name with the same name. So let's make a quick reference in our JavaScript file. So we have the function check here. So this is the function we are supposed to complete. It already has the variable x here declared as numcakes.value. And we have these ingredients here for the initial value of 6. Let's head into the HTML and find our check function. So our check function occurs here when we click on the button submit number of cupcakes. Now, this is the button submit number of cupcakes. So when we click on this, these ingredient amounts must be displayed. For the variable x, this is the ID we are picking, numcakes.value. And that will emanate from the number that you enter into the field in this input tag. So this input tag has an ID called numcakes. So from our browser, this is the input field. Let's enter 6 and submit and see. Yeah, for now we haven't completed the function. So there's nothing displayed here for now. So we've identified where our numcakes is coming from and where our function check is. Now let's find out where our ingredients are. For our ingredients, they are in the table. And when we head down a little bit further, we can see them in this TD tag of the table with their respective IDs. So the numbers will be displayed in here depending on the entry that you make. Now you must note that when the wrong entry is made, we must provide an alert. So let's head back into our JavaScript file. And let's place our cursor beneath our declarations and enter an if statement. So if x is equal to 6, that means if 6 is entered, let's open and close our curly brackets and type in document.get element with the ID butter dot, we're going to use inner HTML for this. And that should be equal to the variable that we've declared, butter. Then we terminate it and save. Now let's head into our browser, refresh and check. And so we have our figure 120 showing correctly here. Now you realize we use the statement inner HTML to set the value for what is supposed to be in the ID of butter. In this case, we set the value as 120 because it's declared over here. And referring to our HTML, that will mean our 120 will appear in here. So you are changing what is here, which is the blank, to a value. So as you can see, for inner HTML, you can use it to get internal HTML content from any HTML element as an HTML string. You can also use it to set or change elements inner HTML content. Now you realize that we use the if statement for when the entry is 6. Let's refer to our HTML. That will mean when it's 6, the value for butter ID must appear here. And that will mean we need to write another if statement for sugar, another if statement for flour, another if statement for eggs, and we write another one for extract. Then we will go to if the number is 12. Likewise, another if statement for butter, sugar, flour, and extract. Then we will go back up and begin with 18. You realize that in the end, your work will become very cumbersome. So in place of the if statement, since you are hard pressed for time, the best option available will be the switch case. In HTML, the switch case is used for conditional branching based on the value of a variable, allowing different actions to be taken depending on the variable's value. And this is how the syntax goes. Within your script tags, you begin with the switch and enter your expression in a bracket. You open the curly bracket and begin with a case for value 1, under which you write your code. You end the case for value 1 with a break and begin a case for value 2 with its corresponding code block. And then you break as well. After which you add the default. The default will also come with its code block. So back in our JavaScript file, I'm going to comment out the if statement we did here by adding 2 forward slashes. Let me come down to the next line and let's begin with our switch. So I have my switch and I have my expression. In this case, it's going to be X. Then I open my curly brackets, within which I begin with the first case. So case, in this instance, it's going to be 6. Bring a semicolon. And then let's begin with our code block, which is going to be this same statement. So I'm going to copy this. And then just paste here. And since we are going to do it for the other ingredients, as in sugar, flour, eggs, and extract, I'm going to duplicate it 5 times. And change what we have in here to the corresponding ingredients. So we have sugar, flour, X and the extract. Next, I'm going to break and save my work. So let's head into our browser and see if it worked. Let me refresh. Enter 6. Submit. It didn't work. So let's head back to the code and check. Okay, so it is over here. It's supposed to be colon, not semicolon. So I'm going to save once again. Refresh the page. Enter 6. Submit. Yeah, and then here we have the values, but we have the values for butter duplicated here. So back in our code, we need to change this to the respective ingredients as well. Yeah, so flour, eggs, and extract. Save. Let's go to the code once again, refresh. Enter 6. Submit. And there we have it. So this time it's correct. So back to our code, I'm going to replicate the same thing for 18 and 24. So I'm going to copy the entire case 12 and just paste. Change the 12 to 18 and multiply these values by 3. Go a line down, paste again, and do the same for case 24. So 6 will go into 24 4 times. So multiply these by 4. Then I save. And lastly, let's add our default. The default in this case will serve as an error message or a prompt to the user to enter the specific numbers that were given in the question. That is 6, 12, 18, and 24. So to do this, we are going to add an alert. And in the bracket, we bring our text. And at the end, we end it with a semicolon and save. So let's go back to our browser and test. So let's refresh. And let's enter any number apart from what we've been given here. Let's say I enter 11 and submit. And there I have the error message or the alert. Please enter 6, 12, 18, or 24. Let me enter 1. Please enter 6, 18, or 24. So let's try the 24 and see if it worked. Yes. Before we save our work, let's ensure that we've added comments to the code we've entered in the JavaScript file. This will give anyone who examines the code an idea of what the code means. Comments like this one are preceded by a double forward slash and do not affect the functionality of the code irrespective of its position. So let's begin by typing in our first comment for the function show vanilla. I'll first bring my cursor just after where the function is, hit enter to bring the curly brackets to the next line, and type my comment in. We can now replicate this comment for the other functions. And all we need to change is the image, the name of the image. When we are done, all we need to do is save. Let's scroll down and add comments for these as well, for the switch case. So let's bring down our curly bracket just after the switch. Come back up and type in our comment. I'll add comments for the clicks as well. So the first one says displays amount of ingredients when number of clicks is selected by the user and submit button is clicked. Let me change this to entered. So I'm just going to copy this comment. And now let's go ahead and save the completed web page. To save it as Lifan, followed by your center number and candidate number. And with that done, we've come to the end of another tutorial. I hope you liked the video and learned something new. You can leave your questions and suggestions in the comment section and I'll do my best to respond to them. Kindly subscribe and leave your notification button on so that you don't miss out on the next video. Until we meet in the next tutorial, it's bye.